So, hello everyone, and welcome to our latest awesome replicated creation in automation game in the awesome latest Alrima version, as they call it. Welcome to the Rover 3.5 liter V8 engine from the classic legendary era of the 1960s and above. This pretty legendary engine is a true hero because this thing came with a ton of versions. They produced it in 1967 as a better version of an American engine, which was called the Buick 215 at the time. So let's talk about this awesome engine and let's explore it together. So the story started in the 1960s, of course, as I mentioned, with the Buick 215, a legendary all-aluminium lightweight V8. Unfortunately, at the time, there was a huge problem with clogging radiators due to using antifreeze in this all-aluminium V8, the Buick one. So they had to cease production at the time, and of course they came up with other solutions. They teamed up with Oldsmobile, they teamed up with Pontiac to create an entirely different variation of this engine. They called it the BOP, which stands for Buick, Oldsmobile, and Pontiac. Again, an entirely different setup with cast iron, different materials, basically to save the day, to continue making this legendary engine, and of course keep making cars at the time, to keep making money, obviously. But the Brits, actually, Rover, when they saw the all aluminium super lightweight V8, which was at the time, which was about 190 kilos, it was considered a much lighter option for lightweight sports British cars at the time. It was lighter than putting a four-cylinder engine at the time. Seriously, at the time, for like cast iron, full on cast iron four-cylinder engines, they were like 200 plus kilo. This V8 all aluminium was about 190 kilograms, which was something astonishing at the time. So top Rover engineers, they absolutely went on a fierce campaign with, of course, with GM, General Motors, to purchase and to gain, of course, the rights of the tooling to create this legendary engine back in Britain. And they actually achieved it. They won that. They actually purchased and won all like the rights to build and this legendary engine back in Britain. And actually Buick sent their the engineer who was like responsible for creating this legendary engine, to they sent him to Britain. They actually moved there. He started living there as a consultant at the time. So like he was like a consultant, a supervisor, basically, on the production of this legendary engine. So the Brits, what did they do? They did an awesome work of fixing the issue. As I mentioned before, the Americans, they made an entirely all aluminium V8 block, which was an issue. The Brits, they kept creating the aluminium engine block, but they installed steel sleeves at the time, steel coolant sleeves and cylinder sleeves, which resulted in basically fixing the antifreeze issue. It was actually a super difficult fix, but for some reason General Motors, they didn't know what to do at the time or something. But anyway, Rover fixed the issue and they made an absolutely true legendary engine. So the specs of this engine are absolutely simple. It's a 90 degrees V8 made entirely from aluminium, as I mentioned before, engine material for the block. I went with the aluminium light because this thing was considered a very lightweight engine at the time. This thing came with 88.9 millimeters on the bore and 71.13 millimeters on the stroke. Unfortunately, I couldn't put 13 here. If I put point 0.1, it will just, the CC number will jump really high. So that's why I kept the 71.0, which is like absolutely super close to the real deal, because the real engine had 3,528 cc. This one has 3,526, so just a shy of 2 cc's. Not much, and because this is a replicated engine, so I'm trying my best here with whatever I have. Push rods, 2 valves per cylinder, aluminium standard cylinder heads also, yes. So this thing is an entirely aluminium engine. What an amazing engine indeed. Plus tank quality, I had of course to spam quality the engine a little bit, because this is automation and I really want to get the correct figures here. So yeah, I had to spam the quality a little bit. The internals, this thing came. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm shocked by this. The exterior or the block cylinder heads, everything was aluminium. The internals were just plain old cast iron interiors, like nothing really special, but they were good actually at the time. Later and later modernized versions, obviously they put forged internals to make it absolutely crazy. But initially the big daddy version of this engine came with cast internals. The first and the earlier versions of this legendary engine came with 10.5 to 1 compression ratio, 12 on the cam profile, 36 on the springs and lifters, with an RPM limit of 5700 RPM. Pretty sweet actually. Again, I went with plus 11 quality here. Obviously, this thing was naturally aspirated. Later years, in the TVR Griffith, TVR Chimera, and some other legendary British sports cars, it came with twin turbocharging and single turbocharging also. So yeah, but of course the granddaddy version was obviously naturally aspirated. Next, the fuel system. This thing came with, as they call them, SU carbs, or in automation they call them single barrel eco, but in real life they call them SU carbs. Basically, SUs are they come with this particular tilty design. As you can see, this particular engine came with twin of this old school single barrel eco carb. As you can see in this particular setup, if you actually Google a photo of the Rover V8 3.5 liter V8, you will see this particular piping and this particular airbox, but it was actually tilted backwards. In the automation game, they actually made it as in this configuration right here, but it's absolutely nearly identical from the real deal, so it's absolutely awesome. I went with the maximum size of the carbs to get the correct power and torque figures. 39 on the fuel map. I had to shove the timing all the way to the max. Yeah, I never do that, but to get the correct numbers, I did it. Plus 10 quality. This thing obviously was using, and I checked this in Wikipedia. This thing was using leaded gasoline at the time. They called it top five, uh, top five, uh, top five gasoline at the time, which was 101 octane fuel. That was actually available in Britain in the 70s. So my only option is to go avgas 110 or keep it 98 or 5 star. Sorry, 5 star. Thank you so much, Mr. Ice. So it was actually called 5 star gasoline. 5 star gasoline at the time. It was 101 octane fuel. Yes. So I went with the closest option, which is 98. All right. So I went with standard mid-range intake manifold, which looks pretty much like the real deal. 24 size, which worked correctly. Tubular mid-range headers, pretty small headers, pretty small single exhaust pipe, and a single second muffler, as you can see. And the results speaks for themselves. It's absolutely a legendary engine because this thing pushed 181 horsepower at 5200 RPM, 220 pound-feet of torque at 3200 RPM. Absolutely awesome and identical. Pretty awesome. I mean, because I shoved the quality a little bit higher than usual, this thing, became a little bit lighter than the real deal. The real deal was like 190 kilos, which was considered crazy light at the time for a V8. Yeah, so this tells you how good this engine was. All right, so now let's fire up this bad boy and let's hear this engine purrs to life. Here we go. Pretty legendary engine, absolutely a legendary engine. Sounds amazing, quiet, purrs like a kitten, torquey, sweet to drive. It was a very nice engine at the time. And not only that, What made this engine an absolute legend is obviously not only its performance. This thing was absolutely used in everything, and I mean absolutely everything, because they put, like, the Brits put this engine in barely, like, in everything: sports cars, sedans, marine vehicles. They put it in absolutely everything. They used it in motorsports. They used it in all, and like in absolutely everything. And not only that, as I mentioned, this thing started in life as a 3.5 liter engine, which you can actually see if you have no idea what kind, where did you where do you want to where did you where you have seen this engine before. Do you remember the episode on Top Gear when they went to Bolivia? Jeremy bought a classic Range Rover, and Captain Slowly he bought a Suzuki something, and Richard Hammond bought a Land Cruiser. Yeah, the Range Rover had this particular 3.5 liter V8 with the SU carbs that Jeremy used at the time. They started with 3.5 liter all the way to 5 liter. Yep, yes, my friends, they pushed it to a 5 liter engine, which they actually put it in the Griffith and the latest version of the Chimera at the time, which pushed about 350 pound-feet of torque and 340 horsepower. So, at the time, it was considered very, very good, until of course 2006, which was actually the dead year of the, like, they killed it in 2006 due of course to its high fuel consumption. This thing was actually a gas guzzler at the time, and you can actually get better V8 versions from BMW, from Audi, from Mercedes, and of course from America. At the time, there were a lot of better versions than this engine, so that's why this thing was killed in 2006. Pretty amazing engine. A lot of people, until this day, they are still using it, they are still restoring it, they are still doing a lot of magic with this awesome little engine. So, and I'm really, really honored to make such an engine automation game again, because I actually made a video in the olden days, in the olden automation versions. I made a replica, and I'm super happy to make it again. Of course, actually some awesome dude actually requested this engine, but unfortunately I couldn't find his comment. Hopefully when he's watching this video, I would love to write in the comments that yes, it's me who requested this video again, because thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to actually redo this legendary engine again in automation game. And tell me in the comment section below, would you like me to see this to put this engine in a car, to test it in Beam Engine Drive? Would you like me to put twin turbos on it? Would you like me to tune it to the max? Please tell me that in the comment section below. I'm always happy to do some your crazy ideas. So if you have any crazy idea for this particular engine, let me know in the comment section below, and we will do it hopefully together on a broadcast or on a future video. And that's pretty much it. Tell me what you think about this engine in the comment section below, and I'll see you gentlemen very, very soon. So thank you so much everyone for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, get subscribed, and as always, if you like my work, don't forget to support me on my Patreon page, the link in the description below. And I'll see you gentlemen hopefully very, very soon. Thank you so much everyone for watching, and goodbye for now, my friends.